Today, we're really getting into the tricky situation around Iran's nuclear program. And these talks with the U.S., which seem to be on 1 minute off the next, we're looking at some recent reporting, including from Al Jazeera, trying to sort of cut through the noise here. Our goal is really just to understand the core positions, what the leverage points, what's actually going on. So let's start with President Trump. He recently suggested U.S. talks with Tehran could start up again pretty fast, maybe even this week. Seems quite optimistic, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but what's really striking is how quickly that was countered. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, he went on CBS Evening News and basically ruled out a quick restart, just flat out.
Ruled it out. So a direct contradiction then.
Exactly. It's not just about timing, it suggests a really deep strategic difference. Like, Iran sees these talks as a serious point of leverage, not some quick fix. Hints at a lot of distrust there.
Right. And then you've got the G7 foreign ministers adding their voice. They put out a statement calling for dialogue, too, for a deal on the nuclear program. So it feels like everyone's talking about talking, but from very different places. How do we square Trump's, apparent eagerness with Iran digging its heels in?
I think you have to look at the very recent history. It's absolutely key. These talks, they were actually happening, or about to, when Israel attacked Iranian nuclear and military sites.
Okay.
And then the U.S. joined in, bombing Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. That was June 21st.
Right. That context changes everything.
It has to. It directly shapes what Iran is demanding now, and you can imagine their level of trust in any negotiation process.
Okay, so despite all that, Iran keeps saying its program is peaceful. That's their consistent line.
It is.
But that clashes directly with what the U.S. and Israel say they want, which is to guarantee Iran can't build a nuclear weapon. How do those two things coexist? Is it purely defensive from Iran's side, or is there some strategic ambiguity?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it links straight back to their conditions for even restarting talks. Araghchi was very, very clear. Iran needs, quote, assurances against further attacks from the U.S. while they negotiate.
Assurances. Okay.
Yeah, he said, in order for us to decide to re-engage, we would have to first ensure that America will not revert back to targeting us in a military attack during the negotiations. Direct quote.
That sounds like a non-negotiable point.
It certainly sounds like it. He did add, we still need more time, but also kept the possibility open, saying the doors of diplomacy will never slam shut. So guarantees needed, but maybe not a complete shutdown forever.
And just to quickly recap the background here, the Trump administration wants these talks after Trump himself pulled the U.S. out of the 2015 deal, right? The one Obama signed.
Correct.
That deal limited Iran's nuclear work, kept enrichment below, what, 3.67%?
That's right. Standard civilian level in exchange for sanctions relief.
Okay, so Trump leaves that deal.
And this is where it gets really interesting. After the U.S. ditched the deal, Iran's response was to start producing uranium enriched to 60% purity.
60%? Whoa!
Yeah, and just for context, civilian power needs under 5%. Weapons grade is typically around 90%, so 60% is, well, it's a massive technical jump. It's way past civilian needs.
So it's a statement.
Absolutely. It signals a huge increase in their capability. It's Iran basically saying, you pulled out. Okay, watch this. It really ramps up their bargaining power. A clear message of defiance.
Okay, 60%. That's significant. And speaking of defiance, there's also this other point of friction. Trump claimed the U.S. attacks had obliterated Iran's nuclear sites, made it almost impossible for them to restart the program.
Right, he did say that. But Iran pushes back hard on that narrative. Araghchi's response was pretty blunt. One cannot obliterate the technology and science for enrichment through bombings.
So basically, you can bomb the buildings, but not the knowledge.
Pretty much. And he added quite defiantly that Iran will be able to expeditiously repair the damages and make up for the lost time if they decide to. It shows a certain confidence, doesn't it, in their ability to bounce back.
It definitely does. And another layer here. Since those attacks and the ceasefire, Iran's also stopped cooperating with the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency.
They put it on hold.
That seems like a big deal for verification.
It is, and
Okay.
it ties back into that trust issue again. Iran's president, Pezeshkian, apparently blamed the IAEA chief's destructive behavior. But reporting from Tehran, like Razul Sardar for Al Jazeera, suggests the Iranians say they'll only let inspectors back in once they secure the nuclear sites that got hit.
So security first, then transparency.
Seems to be the message. It directly links their cooperation with the IAEA to their feeling secure after the bombing.
Okay, let's circle back quickly to the G7. They supported the ceasefire, urged everyone back to the table for a, quote, comprehensive, verifiable, and durable agreement.
Right. Standard diplomatic language, but important support for talks.
And they also urged everyone to, avoid actions that could destabilize things further.
Which is maybe easier said than done, given everything we've just discussed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where does all this leave us in terms of actually getting a diplomatic resolution? You've got the G7 and the U.S. calling for talks.
But Iran's standing firm on some really crucial conditions, and they're also showing they can recover from attacks and push their technology forward. It's quite a statement of resilience.
It really is.
So thinking about Iran's program now, their ability to recover, these very firm conditions they've set, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is the most effective next step for diplomacy? How do you get to that comprehensive, verifiable, and durable agreement that actually addresses what everyone, all sides, are worried about?
Yeah.
It's a really complex puzzle. No easy answers in sight.